I have an interesting relationship with the Jurassic Park franchise. Ever since I saw the original Jurassic Park when I was like 12, it became one of my favorite films ever, with the nearly timeless CGI effects and animatronics really convincing that young me that dinosaurs were real. I loved everything else about the film as well. From the genuine, charming performances, to the score from the absolute GOAT, John Williams, and the humor, action, horror. If you guys know me, you know I love horror, and everything in between. And when they re-released shit in IMAX, you bet your ass I was there probably 4 or 5 times. When we get into the sequels, it's a bit of a different story. I know that The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 both have their flaws and work kinda better as schlocky B movies, but they still charm me and have plenty of fun action set pieces and enjoyable enough characters that I can sit through them if they're on TV and not feel like I wasted my time. I enjoyed Jurassic World despite the fact that a lot of it was just a big, dumb, loud CGI clusterfuck. Sure, it didn't come close to the heights of the original film, but Chris Pratt is a hell of a fun lead, and Vincent D'Onofrio is always a great villain, whether he's Kingpin or whether he's another mercenary dude in Jurassic World. Fallen Kingdom was a little worse. It felt like 2 films in one, and the environmental message and the message on the ethics of genetic research felt a little half-assed, to be generous. But I still had a lot of fun with it and enjoyed how much they tipped it into horror in the second half of that film, with the ending leaving me excited to see the prospect of dinosaurs around the world wreaking havoc. Which leads us to Jurassic World Dominion. Hey everybody, Anthony from Awesome Anthony Productions here. Thank you so much for checking out another one of my videos. Before I get started with my Jurassic World Dominion review, please do me a favor, leave a like, comment, and let me know that you're watching, and subscribe. This movie is, if I could sum it up in 2 words, a lot. Some of it's pretty good. Some of it's bad, but yeah, this movie is a lot. So there are 3 main plot points going on here. Number 1, Owen and Claire are now living with Maisie, trying to raise her and keep her safe. Maisie is the cloned granddaughter of the business partner to the late John Hammond, who we never heard of before the last Jurassic World movie. Sure. And then they need to rescue her when she gets taken by poachers. Oh, and Blue is also living close to them and somehow had a baby, and the baby also gets taken by poachers, so...
I promise you, I am gonna get her back.
Plot point number 2. Dr. Ellie Satler calls in Alan Grant to help investigate the new evil corporation for this franchise, Biosyn, who may have some ties to some genetically engineered giant locusts that are destroying the world's food supply. Oh, and chaotician Dr. Ian Malcolm is also working for that company. Plot point number 3. I can't really dive too much into this one because it gets a little spoilery, but of course, this is yet another movie that dives headfirst into the trope of retconning everything that came before it to give us the story of this special, never before seen character that has somehow been behind the scenes for the last 25-30 years with everything in the franchise, while also giving us another trope, the girl that's the key to everything. So yeah, those are the 3 main plot points interwoven into this 2.5-hour film, and if you can't tell from my less than enthusiastic tone, not all of it works all that well. I'll get to the good stuff later. Now I'm gonna keep going with the bad. Aside from Chris Pratt and the returning OGs, the rest of the cast is fine, but really is not justified. BD Wong returns for the 3rd time in these Jurassic World films as Dr. Wu, and here, he just looks really freaking tired and ready to be done. Though he does have one speech in particular that was pretty emotional, and I liked it. Brycedallashoward as Claire, she kind of just screams, runs around, and looks mildly upset through most of the movie. This is definitely her weakest performance out of the trilogy. And Isabella Sermon, who plays Maisie, is pretty wooden. I'm gonna be completely honest about that. She's a fine enough actress, I just don't think the direction and writing was really there for her character, because it mostly just relied on her rolling her eyes or being a sassy teenager. And even when we learn more about her and she gets some emotional beats to play on, they kind of just fall flat. DeWanda Wise plays newcomer Kayla, and she does have a lot of charm and screen presence. She's a pretty cool character. The only problem is that she basically serves the purpose of Chris Pratt's character, Owen. She's a badass, she's a confident action hero. She says one-liners, she holds her own during action scenes, but she serves the same purpose as Owen, and they're basically just fighting for screen presence throughout the second half of the movie. Another newcomer, Ramsey, played by Mamadou Athi, is good, but also doesn't need to be here, just like DeWanda Wise. He's basically a middleman, and thinking about the movie afterwards, his role easily could have gone to Dr. Malcolm. And now the last newcomer here, sort of a newcomer, who's the final villain in this franchise, is the worst in the franchise. For some crazy reason, the writers decided to take Dodgson from the first movie. Yeah, Dodgson. Dodgson! We got Dodgson here!
Dodgson! Dodgson! We've got Dodgson here! See, nobody cares.
And they turned him into an eccentric Steve Jobs type billionaire that owns Biosyn, played by Campbell Scott, and they proceed to make him one of the most awkward, gullible, and least intimidating villains this franchise has seen. I honestly couldn't even tell you what his motivation was.
We want control.
With all of these characters and more, plus the appearance of Daniela Pineda and Justice Smith from the last movie, the film constantly bounces back and forth between those characters and those 3 plot points I mentioned earlier, leaving the first half of this film convoluted and completely overstuffed. But don't take all those complaints as me completely hating the movie though, because there's a lot in the movie that I really liked, especially in that second half. The action scenes are entertaining and exciting as always, the visual effects are eye-popping, the dinosaurs look awesome, scary, and get some really inventive and cool kills in there, and they push it as much as they can for PG-13.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Chris Pratt and the OGs are really great. Chris Pratt's still a charming badass as Owen, and carries even more emotional weight this time since he's being a bit of a father figure to Maisie. And the returning cast of Laura Dern, Sam Neill, and Jeff Goldblum slip right back into their roles from 30 years ago, and they offer plenty of nostalgia, humor, and heart. It was kind of like Jurassic Park's No Way Home, though No Way Home was a much better movie. The film also doesn't subvert expectations like a certain franchise and bring back the OG characters just to shit all over their legacy and make them do things they would never do. It gives them something to do, and it honors them.
Don't move.
The second half of this movie also breezes by, giving us one dinosaur and suspense-filled action set piece after another, bringing all the characters together and giving us an emotionally satisfying and epic finale. I also, of course, want to mention the score like I tend to do, because Michael Giacchino once again killed it! He brought in all of his fantastic Jurassic World cues and themes along with the iconic old, crafting a beautiful score that complements the best parts of the movie and elevates the shitty parts of the movie. Overall, Jurassic World Dominion might be an overlong, overstuffed film with too many characters and too many plot lines and a really crappy villain, but it does its best to make up for it with great action scenes, amazing visuals, fun performances from our lead and returning original characters, and an exciting second half that races towards an epic, emotionally satisfying climax. It's not a great movie, but it's nowhere near as close to the dumpster fire that critics and other YouTubers are making it out to be.
Oh, good for you!
And that's what I thought of Jurassic World Dominion. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anthony from Awesome Anthony Productions, and if you enjoyed this review or hated it, please leave me a like, comment, and tell me what you liked or didn't like, and subscribe and make sure to ring that bell to be notified when I post again. Thanks for watching, I'll see you later.